Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining Skincare and Food podcast. We have a very special guest today, Roi Santos. He lives in San Francisco Bay Area, and he is a Filipino celebrity makeup artist in the area. He's fabulous. He's fantastic. Very fortunate to have met him. By the way, I'm Maria.
And I'm Amira.
Thank you guys for all joining here today. And today's topic is going to be skin prepping prior to makeup application, because I think that is something that a lot of people are struggling with. And who better to give us the tips and tricks than somebody in the industry? And Roi, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Roi?
Of course. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you guys for guesting me in this show. I feel so fortunate to being here and to share it with you guys. So by the way, I am Roi, the makeup artist. I am a Filipino celebrity makeup artist here in San Francisco, and I've been doing makeup for 10 years. So I'm a pioneer when it comes to makeup. So let's share tips and tricks today. So I cannot wait. So let's go.
Fantastic. I'm curious about the actual steps that you go through. So if you could walk us down, your client has just sat down in the chair. What's the first step, and lead us through your process?
Ooh, that's actually good question. So I personally so when I first do a consultation, it's really important asking the right questions. So when they sit down, asking them what they're looking for, what their skin type, what makeup look they're wanting to achieve. Because if you don't ask question, if you started doing the makeup right away, it would actually end horrible. Because if you execute the needs and want of a client, it will achieve the perfect makeup look ever. Because for me as a makeup artist, when I sit them down, it's really important to actually ask them their skin type. It's really, really crucial, because if you don't ask for their skin type, the product that you're going to use would either make it or break it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I'm curious, because some people know their skin type or don't. Are there any indicators that you see on the person's skin before you start applying to know ooh, I need to grab this or go to this step?
Yeah, actually, you could, because when they were oh my God, I'm super oily. Because I myself, before I literally narrowed down my steps when it comes to my own skincare, I would always say, I'm oily, I need everything mattifying. And at the end of the day, I look so crusty, I look really dry, but I'm so oily. But I didn't realize that I'm dehydrated and I have oily skin. So it's really important to actually get down to the business, because now I use hyaluronic acid to plump up my skin. And I still use an oil-free moisturizer, but to have more water intake when it comes to skincare actually helps me. So answering your question, when you see a little bit of texture, maybe they don't exfoliate as much as they should. So for me, when I do makeup, I always use an exfoliating pads, because I really wanted to start on a clean canvas. It's really, really crucial and important to use exfoliating pads or hyaluronic acid to start and prep up your skin to achieve a wonderful airbrush makeup finish look.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Do you always start out every makeup application with a skin prep? How important is it?
It's really important, especially when I do celebrities on sets, when they haven't gotten 8 hours of sleep, when they're running around, for me, it's really, really crucial. I always sit them down and be like, hey girl, you look like you didn't have any sleep at all. And they were like, I know girl, I've been shooting commercials left and right. So it's really important to sit them down, even having an iPad, so it can calm their under eye, and then it can decrease any darkness. That is one of my personal secret favorite when it comes to makeup application. And then using like what I mentioned, exfoliating pads, to start off on a clean canvas. Hyaluronic acid is one of my tried and trusted product now. And I'm fortunate enough for my celebrities that they gave me tips and tricks, because the celebrities that I've been doing have been in business or had been in showbiz for 3 decades, 2 decades. So they had been exposed to all of the skincare and makeup out there. So I was fortunate enough to, have them guide me and mentor me when it comes to skin prep. Because I myself, even though I've been in the makeup industry for 10 years, I am still learning. So I cannot be like, oh my God, I'm good, no. So I'm so open. I feel like I'm still a sponge. So I can soak a lot of product in because like with our skincare beauty industry, it's booming. There's always something fun. There's always something new. So it's really important to do your research, ask your clients, like the importance of skincare. I always engrave it to them before they even sit down.
I love it. That definitely aligns completely with our philosophy here at Skincare and Food, to always get information, to always learn. Believe wholeheartedly that that's what the whole journey is about.
Absolutely.
There is something that I want to unpack a little bit that you mentioned in your own skincare journey, that with having skin on the oilier side, you realize that the importance of hydration. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, that when your skin's dehydrated, it's really missing that water. And so that's really that tie into having the hyaluronic that's there. Hyaluronics are those sponges to hold in hydration. It actually can draw hydration from the air and bring it to the skin. So I love that you mentioned that, because I think quite often when skin is on the combo to oilier side, the thought is, I don't need to add anything. Where you do. That's where your skin gets that natural luminosity. You need that hydration, that water that's there.
And it's so funny because there's years, I hate to admit this, but there's years that I skip moisturizer because I felt like it's just gonna be because my mental process is, I'm like, oh, I don't want to look like a grease ball, or I don't want to look like a pizza, So I'm sure everyone can vouch for me that all the oily skin people out there, or acne prone people out there. That's why I wanted to do this interview, because I wanted to be a voice out there. That you do need a moisturizer. It's really crucial, even though you're oily, you're dry, you're dehydrated, you're mature skin, like all skin type, you have to incorporate something, because at the end of the day, no matter how expensive your foundation is or your makeup, if your skincare is not as good as it should, it's just literally you're not gonna be happy. And I always tell my clients that they were like gonna bust out like La Mer foundation on me, which is like costs a fortune. And they were like, oh, I'm really use skincare. And I was like, so it's really important to educate them, because we're the bus driver here. And I feel like us makeup artists and skincare specialists, they trust us. So I always view it as I'm me being a bus driver, and I always educate them, because a lot of them, 90%, are really confused about their skincare, are confused about their makeup, So it's our job to educate them to better their skincare or makeup.
Yeah, absolutely. I love hyaluronic acid as well, but specifically for makeup application, because it seems like you're using that consistently in your makeup application and skin prep. Why do you like it prior to makeup application?
I have noticed so much of a difference, whether you're oily or mature or dry skin. Hyaluronic can be your best friend because it plumps up your skin. And another trick that I didn't know before that I used to now, even my own skincare routine, is having your face moist after you wash your face, and putting the hyaluronic, because it grabs. It's when you put it on dry skin, sometimes it just doesn't feel right. But when you moist your skin or after you wash your face and put it on afterwards, it literally will plump and make a difference.
I feel like hyaluronic acid is a misunderstood ingredient. It is a great ingredient to grab hydration and hold on to it, but in itself, it doesn't contain emollients. So for somebody who is dry, and then you put hyaluronic acid, if the skin is dry, that's why it's not feeling the efficacy of hyaluronic acid. But once you put it on that damp skin, it has the water that it starts absorbing, and then it's plumping all the skin. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a great trick.
And another misconception too, that when I try to be like, oh my God, you guys, I'm using hyaluronic acid. The acid sometimes scares people. I've noticed that from my own personal experience. When you be like, hey girl, I'm actually gonna use hyaluronic acid, we're like, oh wait, what? I don't want acid, and then that's when you educate them, like, it's an emollient, you know, like it's not like a glycolic acid where it peels your, like, you know, like you're not going to be red, you know. I think that's what people fear about when they hear things, when there's acid incorporated to the ingredient or to a product name, people do get scared. So yeah, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely education. Yeah, hyaluronic's actually in our tissue and our cartilage. So it's a part of us. It can come from plants, it can come from animals. I'm curious about different types of makeup that would be applied. So for instance, well, actually, in the makeup application, are you typically using foundations that have more of a dewy finish? If they're under bright lights, are you using more matte finishes? And does the makeup or the skincare before make a difference?
Oh my God, that's actually a good question because um, in my own personal experience, as I've started to do more celebrity makeup, I learn as I go. So in your typical event, you were like, people were like, I want dewiness, I want shiny, I want highlighter. But when there's so many lights in front of you, you have to make sure that you use a certain specific product, because if not, you would look really sweaty in camera and it would not translate. The director would be like, cut, powder her, or, you know. So to answer your question, like, you know, like I've learned, if you are in a camera, you have to use an HD preferred makeup because most of them are soft matte finish. So when the light hits it, it's not gonna have that so much mattifying effect, or it's not gonna be too dewy where you look oily. So to answer your question, if you're dry, if I'm going to use a soft matte finish, could people get scared? They're like, I don't want matte, you know? So what they don't understand, soft matte is different than true matte. Soft matte means that it's in the middle. So it's not super mattifying, or it's not going to look super dry in camera. So it's really important when people are like, oh, I think I have dry combination, to prep them up with something hydrating, you know, so something that's gonna, like, you know, like make sure that even though you're putting that soft matte finish foundation on them, it's still gonna lay better. Or for oily skin, you know, like it's really important to still use hyaluronic acid, to still use moisturizer, and then put that on top. So both of them will achieve that airbrush effect. So I think it's really important. And then setting them with an HD powder. That's why now I'm starting to book so much celebrity. I'm learning that the reason that they put out the HD category is for a reason. Because before I didn't understand it, you know, because I had to experience it to understand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know what you don't know.
The quality of the camera is so different now that it picks up everything.
Oh my God, so literally you can literally see anything. So that's why, and the more it is too, I've noticed, the more you pile on, the more it will look cakey in camera. That's why it's really important to just do it in one shot. Like do your skincare in, like, you know, just a makeup, like foundation, just like don't pile it as much because it would not look good in camera. You would you would look this thick, you know, and it was not good.
Okay. So for drier skin, for example, do you have to overhydrate them? Because if you're using something that is a soft matte typically, or is it going to interfere with the makeup application as well?
Not necessarily. I just when people state that they are dry, I'm just gonna use like a serum that has hyaluronic in it, or even an essence. So what essence does is it just makes everything penetrate better. So if they're dry, it's gonna make sure it gets deeper. So like, you know, like if someone's dry, I'm gonna start off with an essence, hyaluronic acid, a moisturizer, and just a primer that has a little bit of like hydrating formula, and just slop off, like, you know, or put the foundation on top, and it would look spectacular. Like it literally would look airbrushed.
Wow, I love it. I'm curious about the eye area in particular. So the skin around the eye, as we know, is a completely different density. It needs a different product that's there. It's not marketing. It really is different ingredients and formulations to be able to go around the eye area in particular. So in prepping a client for makeup, if they are prone to puffiness, is there a particular technique that you're using before makeup? If they're prone to dark circles, or some people have a bit of a structural shadowing is what it's called, when there can be a little bit of a divot in the skin that can occur as we age. You know, skin gets thinner and collagen gets thinner. So I'm curious about makeup prep for the eye area.
Ooh, so for my prep when it comes to like those like, you know, types of skin, I would always prep them with like what I mentioned, the eye gel first. Well, because I always do eyes first. So I'm soaking the eye gel to depuff everything. So you're kind of working smarter, not harder. When it comes to makeup, that is my philosophy. So like starting them with an eye gel too, while you're working in here. So it can literally like depuff everything, and just using an eye cream for people who are drier, or eye serum when it comes to people who are oilier. But the only thing too that I always have learned is being transparent with your client, because I always tell them when they do have those kind of like, you know, like skin type or skin concerns, you have to be transparent with them. I just feel like they feel like it's going to be airbrush, like everything's going to be like magically disappear. But for me, having the transparency, like, hey, I'm going to work as much as I could when it comes to makeup. Like you can still see something, like, you know, because that's the nature of it. That's like the process of aging, you know, because that's what they trust me more. It's like having that transparency before I even start. Because people are like, oh yeah, I got this, but they were like, you didn't erase it. What? You know, so like for me, like I always tell people too, as I mentor people, is being transparent with your client. Like, you know, if they really have like severe dark circle, like, you know, like you can try doing, like, you know, but it's not going to be erased, you know, like it's just the way it is, you know, like, but that's the key of it, because when you're transparent and honest with them, they're going to trust you more.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with that. When you're saying eye gel, you're talking about eye patches. That's a gel, kind of a gel form. Is that what you're talking about?
Like those like kind of like teardrop, like, you know, like thing, like shape, and they feel luxurious too when you put them on. To be like, oh my god, what is this, you know? And like, you know, like I always like wow them, especially if I'm with celebrities. I would get something that's bold, like, you know, like infused, because when you put them on and they were like, what is this, girl? I was like, oh, it's just gonna help you depuff, so everything will be better, like, you know, like everything, like, you know, since you're tired, like you never, like you told me that you haven't have sleep, like, you know, this is gonna help it like moisturize, and it's gonna catch any fallout from eyeshadow, so you're doing two things in one.
Perfect, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, love
Pro
the
tips. Now, we've spoken about things that you enjoy using in the preps, things that work fantastic. So the hyaluronics and the essences and the skin patches. Are there any ingredients or products that you do not want to have on the skin before makeup application? I know for myself, I, in the past, have tried put on foundation on top of makeup, and between the two, there's this like rolling or pilling that occurs, and you're like, oh my gosh, my makeup's ruined. I've got to do everything over again. So I'm curious, is there anything that you don't want to have on the skin?
Well, I think I would say like what you mentioned is like overpiling, because throughout the day when you overpile, your foundation would look really rough and cakey. And I feel like it's just like less is more when it comes to makeup. I know it's really hard to fathom the philosophy of it, but as I've grown, I fully understood what they're saying. Like, you know, like edit. Like, you know, because like the more you put on, the more like, I mean, the more it would look really like artificial, because the trend now is just like glowy skin, like, you know, like baby soft skin. And I feel like it's just like, and it just goes to show too, the trend is so powerful. Like people do follow, like all the social media are very influential. So now you know, like glowy skin is in, you know, of course, if it's like the trend is glowy, you're not gonna like put on like, you know, like this heavy foundation. So yeah.
And I think that's a common problem that a lot of people are having with the rolling, the makeup rolling off their skin, that it's not staying put. What is typically, in your experience, like the issue with that, aside from over applying skincare or applying
I
products?
think, you know, it's so funny. To come back from the very first thing that I've said is the exfoliating pads. That would help me, because a lot of clients, they would typically like, oh, I exfoliate, and when you ask them later, they're like, oh, a month ago. You know, so I think like the collection of dead skin cells will make it or break it. Because if you don't start with a clean canvas, that's when you start like experiencing those things. Because I myself have noticed that to myself and to my clients. And when you're in a shoot and the director saying like 5 minutes, 5 minutes, like you can't have those kind of instances, or you're gonna scram. Like, like literally like especially the last photo shoot I did, we were in a beach shoot. Like we were like, I had to do her makeup at the beach. Like normally we were in the studio, but like what I love about this is like I've experienced something I've never done before. Like laying out on the sand, like you like it's so cool. Like for me as a makeup artist, I'm up for challenges. I was a little bit scared, to be honest with you, but like because I've never done like in like an outdoor makeup shoot. So but having that said, it's about like exfoliating. I think it's just so important because when you're doing the shoots, the last thing you want is be like, hold on, director, I need 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do want to make special mention that I love having an exfoliation before I know I'm going to be on video. It definitely gives that skin that lovely glow. But I definitely believe wholeheartedly that exfoliation should not happen on a daily basis. Our skin already does slough off dead skin cells on its own. It's great to help it out, especially for a special shoot that you're gonna need the face to be nice and glowy. But we've definitely noticed in clients that over exfoliation causes the skin to have this really interesting reaction where it can be very dull on the surface but oily underneath. It can overproduce oil. It can be overly dry because the skin's trying to catch up with all of the oil that's been taken away. So I definitely love exfoliation, but very purposefully, not every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will second that in a heartbeat. Yeah. And I think with over exfoliation, that's where the dehydration comes in as well. So that's why you're seeing a lot more oils production, because there is the lack of water in the skin as well. Now, I'd have to ask you about glass skin. You see in magazines that juicy, really glowy glass skin. And you mentioned if you're using something that's a dewy based, then it's going to make you look sweaty, not juicy. So how do you accomplish that look?
Ooh, I would say there's setting spray that would do it. Like I've noticed that with the director and the celebrity that I've viewed, like that I work for, that they always tell me secrets, because I've asked them that. I was like, wait a second. So if I'm not using something like more dewy, how would we achieve that? Like how would we make you look very glass skin like, but at the end of the day too, setting spray would do it, but the importance of skincare would actually help you achieve it. Because if your pores are clogged, if you're breaking out, if your skincare is not catering to your own skin type, you're not going to achieve glass skin. Because glass skin for me means that you're taking care of your skin because it's radiating. It's radiating from the from the inside. So like having a good skincare and like using a dewy setting spray to help it. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to how well you're taking your skin, in my personal opinion.
Oh, perfect.
I love it. We can't fake it. That natural glows, that skin that is well hydrated. It has its oils that are there. Which actually I'm curious about oils. We've mentioned hyaluronics and essences, which are all water-based. Are there any types of oils that you can use or do use before makeup application?
Well, for me, if they're oily, I would just use it depends again for their skin type. If they're oily, I would just use hyaluronic and then a good moisturizer on combined. But if they're dry, what I've noticed having a squalene, I think I like that the most because I feel like it's combination with hyaluronic. For me, have the best tandem. So it just looks so good when it comes to their makeups. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot more oils out there that can help it. So yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I've definitely noticed some oils have a very fast absorption rate and don't stay sticky or greasy. But yeah, I think every oil has different weights to them and it's kind of an experimentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good deal.
Amazing.
Well, we're coming just about to our 30-minute mark that's here. Any final thoughts or any tips or anything that you'd like to share kind of encapsulating today?
Well, like to tie everything in, I think it's just like, like it's really great. And I cannot stress this enough to have like a sturdy like skincare, or even going to a like, esthetician to help you out. Like, like getting facials, like, done like once every 2 months or 3 months. I think that's gonna help you like, like so you're not gonna pile a lot of on. And just like understanding your skin type, I think is just crucial for me, because I am a believer that if you're using product that is catering to you personally, you won't have any problem. Because for me, like from years of like experimentation or experimental when it comes to product, like I've done it all, but I'm so happy and satisfied that I have my skincare down to the T, because I've noticed a huge difference. Because I'm not too mattifying already, like, so when I put foundation on, I don't see a lot of texture. I don't pile as much of makeup, because what I understood is like, like I have it down. So like my skin is just like like a machine that's be like, okay, cool, it's up and running, and up and running in a good way. So again, like, like having those down, I think would be crucial. So like asking experts, like, about your skin type. And I feel like a lot of people are so scared of asking question on the fear of them looking stupid. But I always tell them, ask away, because that's what we're here for. This is our job, like, so that's why I became a makeup artist, is because I need to be a voice out there. I need people to come up to me and be like, Roy, because of you, I didn't give up.
Oh, that's so amazing. I think knowing yourself, I mean, we know ourselves better than anybody else. And so being able to really learn what our skin type is, and realize that just because an influencer or somebody that you saw is doing a particular technique or using a certain product doesn't necessarily mean that it'll work for me, but really just learning and always trying to find out more information. I love it.
To piggyback off of that, it's really important, because like as you reach so much followers on Instagram, brands do come up to you and be like, hey girl, I'll pay you such and such, just like advertises. For me, I have said no to so many people, because as an influencer and as a Filipino celebrity makeup artist, I have to make sure as my audience, they trust me completely. I promise myself that I'd be very authentic, that if I feature something on my channel, it means that I truly believe in it. Or like, because I mean, money for me is not important. For me, the authenticity and your credibility is more important than cash. So I've said no to like proposals that are like more than my paycheck. But at the end of the day, I don't care about money, because I want this to be a platform in my Instagram to be more credible, like to be more authentic. Like, at the end of the day, money's money, but I want followers to be like, he's really nice, he's very genuine, and that's why I follow.
I love it. Authenticity.
Love that. And I also love what you said about making sure that your skincare is a maintenance rather than just something that you do every once in a while. And the more disciplined you are about it, the better off your skin will be. And you don't have to do kind of like all this maintenance, just like a troubleshooting whenever your skin needs to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Roy, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. This has been fantastic. It's so good to see you. And everyone, please check out Roy's Instagram. He's got his portfolio up there. Amazing work. Roy, the makeup artist on Instagram. And have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
All right.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you.
You as well. Bye.